You're listening to Experience Imagination, a themed entertainment design podcast presented by Falcons Creative Group. Every episode, we discuss a new topic with a panel of creative professionals. Hi, I'm Cecil McPurry, President and Chief Creative Officer of Falcons.
Hi everyone, welcome to this special episode of Experience Imagination. I'm your host, Audrey DeLong. I'll be joined by Cecil McPurry and Scott Demereaux. Scott has been on the podcast before. He's the co-founder of Kathmandu Group. Cecil and Scott are going to break down the big news we recently announced, and it is electrifying. Hello, guys.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Well, I'm great, and I think everybody around here is feeling pretty fancy these days.
Yeah, we're kind of floating on air right now.
Yeah.
Been an exciting week.
Speaking of exciting, we just made a major announcement. Cecil, tell us about it.
Sure, Falcons Beyond.
Nice.
Very exciting. Scott and I decided to join at the hip, if you will, and elevate our offerings to the world.
Yes, we've been working together for years and just have felt like we've been partners for a lot more than a client relationship. And as things evolved and opportunities kept growing and expanding, it just made sense to say, what could we accomplish if we truly came together and brought a offering to the market that really doesn't exist today? And so that was the motivation behind joining up and creating Falcons Beyond.
You oftentimes hear the whole 1 and 1 equals, you know, and we look at each other all the time and it's not 3. It's exponential.
Yeah.
The more we talk into the details of how we add value to each other, we find that there's so much more than we even anticipated. And we're getting reinforcement from that already about the synergies between our two companies and, you know, our JV with Melia Hotels International. And that's a whole nother layer of conversation as well. That's
There
quite
definitely
spectacular.
is. Well, we're going to definitely get into that.
Excellent.
Maybe wanted to give our listeners a little bit of background on how Falcons and Kathmandu first started working together in case they haven't heard about that.
Gosh, it must be 8 years ago or so now that we did our joint venture with Melia Hotels. And Melia is the largest beach hotelier in the world. And when we joined up and decided to build park and resorts and beach destinations, it just elevated Kathmandu beyond anything that we really had ever imagined as far as creating a global growth opportunity. But what was missing, as successful as our location was in Mallorca, Spain, the first location, it was kind of a homegrown product. And we happened to hit the right elements and got a lot of hoopla and a lot of awards and accolades, which prompted the joint venture with Melia. But we knew internally it was not truly ready for the global stage rollout. And so we reached out to Falcons with their master planning capabilities, project management, but also just from the rides and attraction standpoint, Falcons' capability, they brought, for the first time ever, literally an idea of saying, let's bring the highest quality rides and attractions, which has always been historically reserved for the big parks. Let's scale those down and bring them world-class attractions in these smaller parks. And then I've always been told that what I do for a living is I kind of inspire the inspired. That was until I met Cecil. And then I found out that Cecil was here to inspire me. And he pushed Kathmandu to say, guys, you have an opportunity here with the relationship with Melia. What if we actually overlaid the Kathmandu IP and make the first ever theme park that all rides and attractions are centered around a central story and a central theme? And so we began working on content, must be 2.5 years ago now.
2.5 years ago, yeah.
And, obviously for Melia, this was just kind of mind-blowing, and it just had them accelerate and say, oh, we've got to get this on a global stage more quickly. And so we just, every month it seems like for the last 2.5 years, we've become more integrated and our teams working more closely together.
Yeah, and from the beginning, I think obviously we have done amazing work for different developers, but the culture was unique. It was very similar to our culture immediately, right? I mean, we were treated as equals. And I think that synergy of how we communicated to each other helped us want to perform even more. But what was rewarding was the embracing of our ideas to elevate it beyond their expectations And we weren't increasing the schedule or budget, but we were being very innovative with what they had financially, earmarked. And then we were able to create something that I think is not in the marketplace.
Exactly.
And so that's going to be very exciting for the consumers to engage in this experience. It's going to be quite special. And so we've continued to progress that, not only in the brick and mortar side. We're actually going to take this into the original animated series world and tell stories through different mediums like that.
That is going to be so cool. And you touched upon, both of you really, the IP of Kathmandu and how special it is. I'm thinking that we can benefit our own clients now and future clients with this quote-unquote IP expander system.
Yes,
Can you tell us about that?
Well, obviously there's been institutions out there in the world that have taken advantage of different lanes of communicating a story, right? And so what's unique about what we're doing is we're able to take those lanes, let's say consumer products, toy lines, retail, collectibles, card games, mobile. We're going to be taking Kathmandu and taking this IP to all those different lanes. Mm-hmm. And, we're also rolling out the Kathmandu parks in multiple locations. And so can you imagine our streaming subscription video on demand is going to be realized at the same time as the opening of the park? Mm-hmm. And the collectible line and the card game will also be available, and the mobile game will be available. And by the way, we have the software overlay that connects all of the attractions within the park as a experience that we call Aeon XP ecosystem. That will also tie in with avatar creations of characters that guests will be able to play on their mobile device or on their PC at home. Continue to play and add value to when they go back to the experience. They're actually more powerful by way of their experiences that they were doing offline. And so it's quite a powerful ecosystem that we're creating.
And you can imagine the feeling of that from the theme park developer. We're brick and mortar. We build parks and hotels, and with Melia, the hotels are branded Kathmandu. We've been opening kids camps in Melia's hotels all around Europe. Literally millions of customers have experienced the Kathmandu IP through the actual brick and mortar side of it. But then through Falcons, all of a sudden the whole transmedia side of this opens up. Mm-hmm. And then as you start to think and open your mind to it and say, wow, who out there in the marketplace can do everything simultaneously, even down to the point of the biggest difficulty in expanding a location-based entertainment concept is access to the real estate. And that's one of the big things that's solved through Melia. They have literally 400 properties around the world in 40 countries.
40 countries.
And we're literally looking through their entire portfolio to say which countries are next, which locations are next. And so the park side has a very rapid rollout plan, and that's coupled with simultaneously launching these transmedias opportunities everywhere and merchandise and the gaming apps. And it's amazing when you start to map that out and saying so much exposure in so many different ways, all kind of in a very short period of time. It's going to be quite an exciting ride.
So Kathmandu still has the parks. They have the theme parks, the big experience, small footprint specialty.
Yes.
And Falcons is still master planners. There's the attraction design side. We create great media content. Together, though, this new entity, Falcons Beyond, what does that specialize in?
It's amazing. It is that 1 and 1 equals a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So can you imagine that we're master planning, but we now have the full capabilities to offer Kathmandu IP within the developments that we're master planning? That is something that we don't have to negotiate. That's something that's within our portfolio. So we have that IP to offer. We also have hotel solutions as well. Mm-hmm. And think about it, the operations of both the hotel and the parks is something within our wheelhouse now. That is another layer that we can offer to our clients.
We really dove deep into the relationship between Falcons and Kathmandu, but Falcons has a lot of other IP relationships.
Yeah, we've obviously proven ourselves as IP protectors and elevators, if you will. This IP expander layer continues to be an offering. And so we do have relationships with IPs, which at some point in the future we'll announce formally. Mm-hmm. But these will be part of our Rolodex of experiences that will be offered to the consumer. And so we're excited how those will start to play. Obviously, there's different densities and capacities for a lot of the places that we're realizing our parks and resort experiences. And some of these IPs will get to benefit from being in those locations. Pretty exciting.
Falcons has just for years worked with some incredible IPs around the globe, but now the opportunity is there in this concept of being a IP expander. All of a sudden now, Falcons, for their clientele base, they can offer actual operations, park operations. They offer a hotel solution. We can now offer, in Kathmandu's case, a unique IP that they can overlay. But most importantly, they can also joint venture with other IPs. Now these clients will actually be working with long-term partners with financial capital invested, and it just bonds the relationship and allows for so much more growth around the world than what's happened previously.
Everyone's a stakeholder now, right? And so having stakeholder, everyone cares about the end product. And so I think that really elevates our relationships.
And it's really not even just theme parks. It's entertainment centers, like family entertainment centers.
Correct.
Location-based entertainment.
Restaurants, dining, entertainment, all are part of the mix. Hotels, and in amazing locations. Yeah, it's more than just a theme park.
And some of these locations of Amelia's are in such heavily dense and mature built-out destinations that the entertainment offering will expand beyond even just the Kathmandu IP. Our intention is that some of the other IPs will be integrated and the entertainment offering will just expand and literally dominate the entertainment environment in that location.
So it's possible that there's an entertainment location that features one of our attraction systems, say suspended theater, with Kathmandu content, and within that same entertainment center, there's a 4D dark ride attraction that features a completely different IP.
Correct.
And then some of the Falcons entertainment offerings inside the game suite. It's a game changer for hotels that don't have a full entertainment offering, a full theme park. And so also this Aeon XP ecosystem that everybody's been pretty excited about.
Yeah.
It has the ability to integrate hotel and park, different hotel to hotel. Amelia has more than 13 million active reward users.
Impressive.
So as Cecil said when we started this, we're just getting a glimpse of all the opportunities that we're going to be presented with because of, we mentioned 2 or 3 times this idea of 1 + 1 is 3. But that started with us with Amelia more than 10 years ago. Their version when Falcons came into the group was 1 + 1 + 1 is a lot. That's where the phrase "a lot" came from. Because now you're talking just exponential opportunities for the consumer. But it's also humbling of when you take our 2 companies and put them together and then add the Amelia overlay of not only world-class hotels, but access to world-class real estate to do these developments in, and having a partner the size of Amelia as the #1 beach hotel in the world is kind of humbling by itself. But when you take all 3 of those components, there's nobody in the marketplace that has this combination of offering. We can truly change the hospitality industry and have an impact on it because this combination has just not been put together before.
Very exciting.
What's usually the hardest part of bringing a new entertainment complex or a theme park to market? Is it finding the real estate?
It's easy to find one spot, and there's lots of companies that have 1 or 2 locations that have done really well. But as soon as you take that phrase and add global to it, it's not just the real estate, but it's also understanding the markets you're going into, the local customs, the legal side, the accounting side. Amelia solves, first of all of that because they've been operating in these locations for years. Okay. And so they know how to pave the way to make things happen. They've got the relationships.
Wow, yeah.
But,
it's a big deal.
But also country after country after country is offering us significant tax incentives and subventions and in some cases literally tax exempt status as an incentive to come. And I think it's because of the credibility of literally the world-class nature of the quality and the relationship with Amelia, that credible force that we're not coming in for a short period of time.
It's a long-term relationship.
We're coming into these markets to stay for decades, literally. And
a lot of these locations are looking for a special entertainment offering to draw more attention to their countries, right? I mean, so they want the entertainment, they want the quality, and now with the relationships, it's easier for them to offer these, subventions and tax breaks.
Obviously, this is a huge boost and a huge booking advantage for the actual hotel branded Kathmandu. But what we're really trying to do is drive tourism to the market as a whole. So every hotel in market wins when we bring a Kathmandu product there, because it's helping give a reason. There's literally thousands of great beaches around the world. And so when you're choosing one destination over the other, it's what's the peripheral offerings outside of the great beach.
Awesome, guys. I think at the end of my career, I'm going to look back at this podcast and go, I was there when these guys were talking about this. It's going to bring tears to my eyes, right? Goosebumps, right?
Hopefully you're on the beach with an umbrella drink in your hand
I could see that.
After experiencing a Kathmandu ride.
Yeah, most definitely. This is such a big announcement, and I'm really glad you guys can sit down and join me for this conversation, and I can't wait to, see what happens.
Yeah,
exciting times. Exactly right. So
the shovels in the ground.
Yeah, Punta Cana, really excited to announce that Punta Cana, which is a major park for us, it's literally 4 times the size of what the first park in Mallorca was.
Is it really?
Yes.
And this is being built literally on the property of Milia's largest and number 1 location in the world.
Whoa.
And so this is a game changer for our product. It's a game changer for this new idea of Falcons to actually bring custom content and this new level of rides and attractions. And it really is going to launch something meaningful. And I think it's going to send some shockwaves, because there's no park like this anywhere in the world. And for this to be the first park coming out of the ground with this new relationship, it's going to mean great things.
Yes,
for sure.
Definitely.
Thank you again, Cecil, the CEO of Falcons Beyond.
Thank you.
And Scott Demereau, the Executive Chairman of the Board of Falcons Beyond.
Well, thanks.
Before we go, we wanted to leave you all with a couple of fantastic sound bites. First from Mark Hodnott, who is Melia Hotel's Chief Real Estate Officer. And then Andre Girondeau, Chief Operating Officer of Melia.
Kathmandu, plus Falcons, plus Melia as well. It's an amazing opportunity for a vertically integrated entertainment and leisure value proposition to be able to go from your IP to the design of sites to the design of audiovisual products. They can then come back together in world-class tourist destinations and therefore provide that overall experience. When we have that knowledge end to end, it's a pretty unique thing.
I think now that we have the opportunity to have Falcons involved with us, I don't think we have even started to imagine the potential this has. I think this will truly legitimize the brand in a market that is so broad. It has so many opportunities that not only it's going to be very good for the brand, the hotel, and the entertainment portion of it, but everything that comes along with it in ancillary revenues, other revenues, merchandising. I think we haven't even seen the tip of what this can really be.
Thank you for listening to Experience Imagination, a Falcons Creative Group production. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast and share with your friends. To keep up with our latest news, visit us on the web at falconscreativegroup.com and follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for future episodes, please email us at podcast@falconscreativegroup.com.